Hi, it's me, Wyatt, the boy,
And me, Clem, the lobster.
and you're listening to The Horse and His Boy. The Lobster and His Boy, in which we are reading The Horse and His Boy special episode. Except also kind of not really, it's just another book, but it's the best book because
NAMESAKE.
Yes. We normally reread the Chronicles of Narnia in publication order, but this is, the very, very, very special one, so we had to change up the intro. It has a lot to hold up to because I didn't fully remember the plot, and we named our podcast after it, so
Well,
it just fit. So we're just gonna gallop right on in and figure out what is up with our horse and boy.
Horse's Boy.
Let us begin our journey with Chapter 1. How Shasta set out on his travels. Instantly pulled in mention of Peter the High King and how the story takes place in that era. He's like, okay, I know it's not who you're familiar with, but hold on, it's still in the right time period. You may see some people. Also, if you hear some white noise in the background, it's hot. There's fans.
There's forest fires.
Yeah. And although we jump into the golden era, the golden age, the age of our four besties, the Pevensies, we're going to jump to the south of Calormen, on a creek off the sea.
Where's Calormen?
It's, south of Narnia and Arkenland? It's south.
Yeah, far south.
But it's still on the same continent. And I do have a little bit about Calormen, because although we have heard of them before in the Dawn Treader, I didn't really, we didn't dive into it, and I didn't do any sort of name origin for the place or anything, but it is a large country to the southeast of Narnia. It says that Lewis probably derived the name from the Latin calor, meaning heat, because, as we come to find out, it is a very deserty land, Calormen. We zoom in like Google Earth into Calormen, and then you keep going until you reach this creek of the sea onto a hut. And there's a man there named Arshish and a boy who called him father. The boy's name was Shasta. Lots of shishish. You basically already know this is not this dude's dad, unless Lewis was just really on one that day and decided to phrase something really weird. A boy who called him father.
Yeah.
And so, new characters, ding-a-ling-a-ling, name origins. There's so many new characters in this goddamn book. Anyway, the Latin word ars, I didn't look up how to pronounce any of this, signified skilled work. But it doesn't mean art as we might understand it today, but a craft activity demanding a high level of technical ability, including tapestry weaving, goldsmith's work, or embroidery, but also arsh, A-R-S-H, in Hindi, relating or belonging to, derived from the sages. So we also hear a lot about poets, which are kind of the sages of Calormen's culture, it seems. And then I've got the Greek definition of the ESH, pronounced aish, a primitive word meaning fire, literally or figuratively, burning, fiery, fire, flaming, hot. So relating to, derived of, hot, fire, desert, sages.
Burning bush.
Yeah, and I didn't initially find anything about this. I found his name origin looking up somebody else's name origin in a Reddit thread or whatever. But I did also find the existence of a companion book to Narnia written in 2005 by Paul F. Ford. And he suggested that the name may be kind of similar to the word harsh to match the character's personality, a similar naming tool that he did with Gumpus without all the deep Latin and soul nails and shit like that. I like the fire, relating to, belonging to fire kind of aspect of it, because Calormen, you've got hot, the land of hot, and then this person is still related to heat related to fire, so he's the epitome of what someone from Calormen would be. But the companion book was really interesting. I just didn't really want to spend $15.99 or whatever it was right then to purchase it and then not get it for 3 weeks. But I might get it just for a good read in the future. And I'm going to just jump right into Shasta's name origin, which also I came up with a couple different origins, really. The name Shasta in this version is of an Indian origin, and its meaning can be interpreted as praised or commended, which is interesting. And then I've got this one here. Shasta is a gender-neutral title, ideal for the wise little sage coming to enlighten the world, meaning teacher, which does pair very well with the fire sage kind of name for Arshish. There's also Shasta is an African name meaning precious water, which is also kind of beautiful for someone born in a desert land, although also by the ocean, bordering the desert.
And Mount Shasta's like an alien portal, I guess.
Yeah.
According to TV.
Mm-hmm. It's rich with name meaning, so pick what you want. I couldn't choose. Normally I feel like there's options and I settle on one, but this one I kind of liked all of them.
Yeah, no, those are great.
Because, yeah, as we come to find out, Shasta is a teacher in his own way. He doesn't really mean to, but he's like what's the word I want? An example.
Oh.
Example for others to follow.
Oh, I love that.
Most of the time. I mean,
Finally.
He still is a child. I think 14. Anyway, his father is an awful man. Awful man who abuses him. Like, he goes to the market, and if he has a good day at the market, he ignores Shasta. If he has a bad day at the market, he hits Shasta. Mm-hmm. So that's awful. And we know that nothing good is going to come from this human.
Yeah, being your child's first bully is awful. And, disparaging Shasta for all of the chores that he's forced to do. Mending, washing the nets, cooking the fish, cleaning the cottage in which they both lived with the fish. It kind of sounds like a stinky fish life.
Yeah, that's a lot of fish. I don't think I would be very happy with that much fish in my life.
So, it doesn't seem like things are pretty great for Shasta, but to be fair, none of these books ever start off with, these kids were having a great time and everything in their life was fine, because why would you want to go to Narnia when everything in your life is fine?
Yeah, you've got to want to escape, and he does. He dreams of traveling north, where nobody is allowed to go. Like, they say, don't go over that hill, He's always asking questions about what lay over that northern hill. And all he gets is basically like, stop asking questions at best, or hit at worst. And so he assumes there's some big secret over the hill. He's like, I've got to figure out what they're hiding, what all the adults are hiding over that hill. But Arshish, we get the intel that Arshish doesn't know what's over the hill, but he also doesn't care because his life is fine right where it is.
Yeah, like instead of like the whole like, oh, we can't go over there because it's spooky and scary. He's like, we're not going over there, and like I don't fucking care.
Yeah, because I go south to go to the market every day. I don't care about what's north.
Why would you want to leave the island, Moana?
Yeah, come on. But one day, there came from the south a stranger who was unlike any man that Shasta had seen before. He rode upon a strong, dappled horse with flowing mane and tail, and his stirrups and bridle were inlaid with silver. The spike of a helmet projected from the middle of his silken turban, and he wore a shirt of chainmail. By his side hung a curving scimitar. A round shield studded with bosses of brass hung at his back, and his right hand grasped a lance. The man's beard was dyed crimson and curled, gleaming with scented oil. He also has the ring of a great lord, how do they say, a Tarkhan, and he's like, can I stay the night here? Basically, I'm
just stay
staying the
forever.
night here, they get voluntold
Yeah.
that he's gonna stay there and they have to feed him and stuff.
It seems like Arshish is pretty stoked on it. Like, even though he doesn't have a choice, he's stoked to have this guy there.
Right.
And he thinks
It's an honor to have a Tarkhan stay at your place.
fancy.
And I looked up Tarkhan to see if it was a real word or like a real title, and it is spelled differently, Khan instead of Kaan in Narnian. But a Tarkhan was used among the Turkic and Proto-Mongol peoples of Central Asia and by other Eurasian nomads. And it was a high rank in an army. So it is like a high ranking.
In army?
Did I say in army? It was
For
a
army,
high
Michael?
rank in the army. Specifically the army of Timur.
So there's nowhere for Shasta to sleep inside of the cottage, so he gets to sleep outside with the donkey.
Kicked out. I'll be in my bedroom, making no noise and pretending that I don't exist.
Bucked out.
But he doesn't stay in the donkey barn. We're told that he doesn't really understand that it's not polite to peep through door holes or whatever. So he goes back to the door and listens in, because this is the only interesting thing that's happened in 14 years since he got here.
His whole life.
His whole existence has been fish and fish and fish.
Yeah, we don't actually know how old he is. Do we?
I don't think so. I did look it up, and that's where I got the 14.
Okay.
He's kind of Peter age at the beginning. He knows right from wrong. He kind of like knows a lot of stuff, but also because of where he's grown up, he doesn't really know anything.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Just fishing, donkeys, sewing nets.
And he goes in to overhear the conversation between the Tarkhan and Arshish. The Tarkhan wants to buy Shasta. And Arshish, like, puts up a big hullabaloo, even though, according to the Tarkhan and us, it's very obvious that Shasta is not his son.
Natural affection is stronger than soup and offspring more precious than carbuncles, one of the poets said. But another poet has said likewise, he who attempts to deceive the judicious is already bearing his own back for the scourge.
Yeah, if you're like trying to pull one over on somebody who's only trying to do good,
Yeah.
you're opening yourself up to some nasty
don't
business.
Don't load your aged mouth with falsehoods.
Right. He's like giving him all of this. They speak in very poetic threats to each other, it seems. He's like, all right, don't fucking lie to me. Tell me what happened.
Yeah.
How did this boy come into your home?
Yeah, this isn't your son. This is not your beautiful house. This is not your beautiful wife. How did you get here?
And he tells him that he couldn't sleep. He went on a seashore walk to clear his mind and came across a boat floating up to the shore with a freshly dead man. Like, he said he was still warm. And a baby, and the baby's alive. So he took it in and, he raised it as his own and whatever. The Tarkhan is, quote, wearied with his loquacity. And he's like, how much do you want for the boy? We learned some things in the storytelling that the Calamine emperor is called a Tisroc, and they all say, may he live forever, after you say Tisroc. And I figured there's got to be some origin for this. Tis, T-I-S, is the second plural form of you in Latin, like, how are you, addressing a group of people. And Roc, R-O-C, is a monstrous, predatory bird of Arabian mythology. I don't know, it's kind of like...
There's a large bird stealing all your brothers.
Yes.
Incredible.
And that's who is leading this group of people. So, very bird culture.
Right.
Love it. Love it.
So, handsome stranger offers him 15 crescents for the boy.
15. And he wants 70. He says, I want 70. Now they're in a bargaining battle. And Shasta's like, I'm out of here.
I mean, I guess like we'll have to do like, I mean, the difference between 15 and 70 is like not tremendous. I guess I forget the ratio, but that's something, you know.
I do have the exchange rate here.
Perfect.
So, I know there's a lot at the beginning, and there was a lot to look up. It was
No,
really
no.
intense.
Okay, I'm sorry. That sounded
Oh, no,
insincere. I actually am glad because it's going to bother me.
I'm also
it's owl
talking
math
to the
all
people.
over again.
To the people.
To the people.
So, math time. The crescent was worth about 1/3 of the pound sterling in the early 1950. This was worth approximately 25 pounds in February 2010, which means that a calamine minimum, which is 40th of a crescent. So a calamine minimum was approximately equal to a February 2010 American dollar. Easy peasy. If you want to do the exchange rate, is times 40.
So 40 minimum in a crescent?
40 minimum in a crescent, so $40 in a crescent, because the minimum is about 2010 American dollar. I don't want to do the exchange or inflation rate from 2010 to 2024. I know it's probably actually significant, but for the sake of my brain, I didn't do it. A minimum is $1, and there's $40 in a crescent. So
$600.
So if they sell him for 45 crescents, that's $1,800 US.
Oh, I was thinking 15. Shit. Okay, well, I mean, that's a lot better than I was thinking.
45. I like split it right down the middle. And yeah, we had our math way off for Dawn Treader. I don't know why the article that I read this time didn't pop up. I swear I looked up the same thing.
I don't know. I feel like it made more sense with the Dawn Treader, like how cheap it was. Like, it shouldn't be outrageously expensive.
Yeah, $1,800. I mean, that's cheap for a human being because why are you selling people? But also I felt like it made more sense, our math, before. But we now have the real math. $1 is a minimum. In a minimum, there's 40 of them in a crescent. And that's it. They just have two pieces. I don't know if a minimum is a coin and a crescent is a whatever, but that doesn't really matter. And Shasta didn't really seem too miffed about this conversation. He's like, it included my mysterious story of origin, so like that's kind of more exciting than the fact that I'm being sold.
Better than finding out that you actually are from there and belong there, and like that's like you come from these people.
Yeah, better than that is your father and he's selling you. Now that's a stranger who raised me and he's selling me because he doesn't owe me anything. Mm-hmm. It's very different, and also like, who am I?
Yeah, and he didn't love him.
Who am I?
And the boy ought to love his father.
Shasta from Calo.
He's no daddy boy.
And he's standing by the Tarkan's horse and just kind of like chilling. He wonders aloud if the Tarkan is maybe actually nice. You know, like he hears stories of some people being bought and they live wonderful lives and they get 3 hot meals a day. He's like, if only you could talk, horse, I bet you would know all about this. But I can. Excuse me? Excuse me? This horse can talk, so we all immediately know what's going on, that this horse is a Narnian.
I was going to say the horse is the chatty Cathy.
The horse is a chatty Cathy. Immediately opens up to Shasta. He's like, I was just stolen when I was a foal, and I've had to play dumb my whole life so that I could have freedom whenever I see my chance to escape. And I think it just did. It's like, really? You've lived your whole life and never had a chance to escape? But we do learn he's like a war horse, so I'm sure that they are constantly under watch.
Who would play her?
Him.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but like.
But who would play her?
Who would play her? Yeah, the horse.
I don't know. I want someone good. Mm-hmm. Someone.
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine could be good.
Michael Caine.
We'll come back at the end for notes for Greta and give her some casting, hopefully, if we remember.
Yeah.
We learn that he is awful to his human slaves, and Shasta should run away because it's better to be dead than to be a slave of this particular ginger-bearded Tarkan. And the horse says, "Come with me, and you'll see."
What a pure emanation.
The horse does not say, "May he live forever," when mentioning the Tisroc, and Shasta is shook. He's like, "Well, aren't you supposed to say, 'May he live forever'?" The horse is like, I'm Narnian. I'm not from here. I don't owe him anything. He's not my emperor." He's like, "This guy's kind of badass. I like this horse."
Fear of the name.
Only increases fear of the thing itself.
I was gonna burp and I held it in. What the foop? What
You gave it to me.
I passed it along.
And they decide they're going to do it. And not only that, they're going to run away, but they're going to continue north to Tashbaan, the capital of Calaman, instead of back from whence the horse came. So this horse is like not only a talking horse, but a smart horse.
Yeah.
And Shasta goes to check on the men who are now asleep. Like, they maybe settled on a price, but regardless, it was already quite late. So they're like, "We'll just go to bed, deal with it in the morning." In the morning, guess what, boys? Your horse is gone. The horse also explains many, many things. How to put the saddle on, how to put the stirrups and tie the bag and do all the horse things. Which is very helpful because Shasta's never done this before. He's ridden on a donkey. It's not the same as riding on a horse. Shasta's told not to hold the reins, just sit on the horse. It's self-driving.
Yeah, you spur me, I fight you.
Yeah, he's like, literally take those off and put them in the bag. We'll sell them for scrap later. Shasta's like, "Oh shit. Okay. He's really chill with this talking horse thing, but also he's like, "Let's adventure. You want to go north? I've always wanted to go north." The horse goes, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, you look like you're from the north because you're pale as fuck.
Right? You gotta go north to Tashbaan, north to Tashbaan, Shasta and Horseman.
North to Tashbaan. Before they leave, they make sure to place some southbound prints in the mud, and then they head north on a gravel so that they don't leave any prints. They're like going uphill, the hill that Shasta was told never to go on, and they finally get to the top, and his world has changed. He sees more of the world than he's ever seen up until now, and the horse is excited. Horse wanting to run, gallop.
Endless, wild, lonely, and free.
Shasta says, "Before we go galloping on something I've never done before, can I at least know your name?"
Yeah, you can't go galloping until you know someone's name.
No, can you please give us a horse name, if you would?
My name?
Yes.
Another one. Bree.
Shasta just calls him Bree for short.
Bree, Henny, Brinny, Hui, Ha.
Yeah, Bree, Henny, Brinny, Hui, Ha.
Bree, Henny, Bree, Hui, Ha.
The.
Classic.
It's also reminds me of Animorphs with the alien names. You know, as Aximili Iscaruth is still. And they're like, "We're just gonna call you Axe for short."
Keradakash.
Yeah.
Keradashnada. Narnia in the north, right?
Narnia.
Narnia.
In the north. Yes, they gallop into chapter 2. A wayside adventure. We wake up. Old Shasta wakes up at noon to warm, horsey breath. And he's sore. Like, really, really sore. And Bree's like, "You can't be that sore. The falls weren't that bad. There was only like a dozen. And the worst fall that like would have been bad was broken by a gorse bush." A gorse bush? What the fuck is that? So I looked it up. Ulex is a genus of flowering plants in the family Fabaceae. The genus comprises about 20 species of thorny evergreen shrubs.
Hard pass.
Thorned bush he fell into. He's like, "No, you're fine." He fell into a cactus. It's not. It's like a real bush, and it's got yellow flowers on it, and it's kind of pretty, very desert bush. The gorse bush, also known as whin or furze, has many positive connotations in folklore and spirituality. In Celtic mythology, it's associated with the Celtic god of light, Lugh. Gorse was thought to be a sign of hope in times of difficulty. The ancient Celtic people also associated gorse with fire, light, and sun because of the yellow flowers. They believed that it could protect against misfortune, so maybe it's kind of like a cleanse. He got a little quick cleanse of good luck. Also, gorse is one of the 7 helpers in Bach's flower remedies. Some say it can help people who are struggling with long-term health issues and have lost hope. So that's also why it has that hope connotation. The yellow petals are able to lift spirits and self-belief, and some say that seeing gorse can have the same therapeutic effects as vitamin C tablets. We'll see about that. I gotta go hunt me down a gorse bush.
BRB. And the new air is so delicious that Shasta's not even hungry for breakfast. Just kidding. Bree already took care of his breakfast, being a horse. And conveniently, instead of just apples and bear meat, this time, this adventure, our main character's actually set up a little bit. Exactly, thank you. We have a meat pasty and then a slightly stale lump of dried figs, as well as another lump of green cheese. Also a flask of wine and some money. About 40 crescents in all, which is way more money than Shasta's probably ever seen in his life. What's that math on that 40 crescents?
40 times 40 would be $1,200. Editing Wyatt here. 40 times 40 is definitely not $1,200. It is $1,600. That is all.
So, I mean, like, it seems a little bit like stealing to Shasta, unfortunately, but, like, Bree isn't really concerned with that, because
It says it's raiding.
Yeah, he's a free horse. He's munching on the grass. He's like, what are you talking about? Breakfast is everywhere. Excuse me. Like, we won't eat oats and grass, so, like, you need that in order to feed yourself. So just, like, you found it, enjoy it, STFU.
Yeah, this view, though, of the morning and the whole air, everything wipes away all his aches and pains, and I feel that. I think that the right view of the ocean will just ease just about any pain that life throws at you. Something about them.
Get your nature on, and, you know, just, this is the best Shasta's ever felt, and I'm sure that Bree's felt in a long time. You know, they're safe, they're far away from the cities, and
they're going north.
Yeah, and, like, we know once they get past, like, all of that, like, they're going to be free, and, like, for Shasta, it's like anything, and like everything up until this point has been the best moment of his life. Like, it just keeps getting better and better. Like, he's basically been living like Gypsy Rose, and now he gets to enjoy his life. I don't mean that in a disparaging way. I'm so happy for her. How can you not be happy for her? So now they're just going to be creeping along the coast, and, you know, maybe they'll see some sheep and some rabbits and gulls and maybe some shepherds, but it's probably going to be fine, except if anyone's ever ridden a horse for the first time and then immediately had to ride a horse the next day, or, you know, riding a bike, any strenuous activity, usually the next day it's hard to do the same thing again. You usually need to rest, but that is not the case for...
Not an option.
Yeah, I mean, you can't.
No, you're escaping. You're on the run. Mm-hmm. On the run again.
Ding, 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 ding.
I don't want to be on the run again.
Ding, ding, ding.
But it's honestly, like, it seems kind of sweet and easy. Yeah. You're just going to head up the coast, and we know that on the coast in Narnia is Cair Paravel. So if they just head along the coast, they will meet our team.
Yeah, and you have a horse teaching you how to ride it. And even though he's, like, kind of a little bit rude in the way he tells you, at least, like, they're patient enough that you can learn how to do different stuff, like, you know.
Yeah, I think it kind of says that he's rude but not unkind.
Mm-hmm.
So he's...
Or rude words but patient, something like that.
It's so fun, which, great teacher. You know.
And also, like, it makes, you know, not that you should be rude, but, like, it's their body, and maybe it's uncomfortable or painful or, you know, whatever.
When it's done wrong.
Mm-hmm. But eventually, Shasta's... like, kind of I don't know, it starts to become more natural, but we still have to, even though he's got, like, the best teacher you possibly could have, it's still day 2.
He's not incredible, but he can do some special maneuvers in case of emergency and some basic maneuvers for general life.
Yeah, and this is the part that I love. After they had traveled on for weeks and weeks, past more bays and bays, headlands, rivers, villages, club, airplane, no sleep. After no sleep, endless clubs, on one particularly moonless night, a new journey starts upon their pre-existing journey of just escaping. They're coming through a wide path along the forest, jogging along for about an hour, when all of a sudden, screech noise, Bree stops. Because he's a little bit spooked. He hears what sounds like another horse, possibly.
And not only that, a horse being ridden by a fine rider. Mm-hmm. Like, he can tell by the footfalls that the person riding the horse is probably pulling up on the reins, making the horse have light tread. Mm-hmm. He believes that it's a Tarkan following them. And he plans to head west, or east, west, to the coast to hide among the sandhills. And as they're getting out of the woods to the sandhills, they hear a lion roar from the seaside. And so they're like, what the fuck? There's a lion here. We gotta get away. And they gallop inland out of fear, away from the lion, towards the horse. They escape, or so they think, across a little creek, get through some water. Your smell is gonna be broken, only to hear a second roar from inside the forest this time. And then they kind of gallop kind of toward the coast, but also north, until they hear the horse again, to their right. And they're kind of getting closer and closer to the horse, and then they both start to separate from each other, and they hear lions on either side of them, on their left and on the right of the other rider, roaring to kind of push them back together, like a pack of lions ambush, kind of. Shasta
starts to feel like the lions are just fucking with them, just like how a cat would play with a mouse.
Mm-hmm. No, 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 no. The fear I would feel right now. Because this is, weeks and weeks, so this isn't night 1 by any means. Mm-hmm. But still, this is like the first real thing that's happened, and it's so fucking scary. Mm-hmm. They're galloping as quick as they can go. The horses end up kind of neck and neck, close enough together that you can see the other rider, and he can tell that they're wearing a chainmail shirt and has no beard, which is, I thought, was weird. And then I remembered that the other Tarkan has a red beard, so it was very obvious this is not the same person that we met at the beginning of the book.
And this part would have been so stunning to have seen a shot of, just like a flat and shining shot of the sea as Shasta and Bree are just like splashing and like running at them, like the mouth of like the sea with the salt water. Like, they're just like, the horses are like running into the water, and then they're swimming, and then both horses are swimming, and the water is up to Shasta's knees. It just seems like it would be absolutely beautiful to see, though I would hate to think of an actual horse having to
swim like that.
Yeah, I know they can, but even so, CGI, please.
They're only doing it because they're scared. Mm-hmm. And the lion, only one lion now, doesn't follow them across the water, but they do see this lion. And in the whole shaking off that insane, wild, scary experience, the other horse also speaks. And Bree just outright confronts the horse. He's like, you're a talking horse. You're Narnian, right? And the rider's like, no. What's it got to do with you? Why do you need to ask? It's none of your business. And the other horse is like, she doesn't say shut the fuck up. Yeah. She's very nice. And we meet her name, Hwin. Hwin. And Bree and Hwin, the mare, discuss both of their escapes. And they're basically in the same situation, kidnapped as foals, raised in Calormen, just different riders. He was a war horse, she was just like a princess horse.
I thought you were gonna do the name origins.
Oh, for Hwin?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Okay.
we learn about Hwin and Aravis, which is the young Tarkina, which is what they call a young princess, basically. They discuss their escapes, very similar situation, and Aravis asks why Bree is only talking to her horse. And we have a great quote here. "Excuse me, Tarkina, but that's Calormene talk. We're free Narnians, Hwin and I suppose if you're running away to Narnia, you want to be one too. In that case, Hwin isn't your horse any longer. One might just as well say you're her human." And there it is, folks. There it is.
Opens her mouth to speak and then stops.
Yeah, she's like, oh, I never thought about it that way. Like, yeah, this is a being with just as much brain as you.
Mm-hmm.
Also, even if it wasn't, like, this is still a being. Why is it yours?
Right. And then she's like, okay, well, I still don't think there's that much point in us going together. Aren't we going to be noticed? If there's like, a
there's
bunch of
more
us. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hwin thinks that they should go together, but I think she's also just like, ooh, a strong man horse to protect us kind of vibes. But Aravis is like, well, how do I know he's not a spy? I don't know you. She's a little younger than him, I think, 13, 14, and he's 14, 15. Just, context. She's like young.
I always thought it was the other way. Like maybe he was a little bit younger than her.
It says, I think shortly after this, like, well, who are you to say? Like, you're not even as old as I am. Name, origin, because we got a new character. I didn't do the horse. I'm sorry, Hwin. It just, I assumed that it was just a play on whinny, like a horse noise. And that's, her name is probably just as long as Bree's name. And Aravis just calls her Hwin because she doesn't want to say Hwinny Brinny, hee ha, hoo ha, Hwinny.
Stupid.
But we're going to do some name origins for Aravis. The Latin word ara means altar, and the Latin root vis means to see or look. Like, is she the one who's gonna see the altar? Some sort of like Aslan's table vibe. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It makes it seem like she's the witness. She's kind of this person that will witness. And I find that interesting because she's not born Narnian. She's from Calormene. Like, she's coming to see the altar that is Narnia. She is... I don't know what it really is, but... It was interesting that there was a very direct breakdown.
Yeah.
This. Look at the altar.
And then essentially we wrapped up the chapter with the promise of a story.
Yeah.
Which I feel like it's been a minute since we wrapped up the chapter with the promise of a story instead of the promise of a meal.
Mm-hmm. And that brings us to chapter 3. At the gates of Tashbaan.
Before we jump into Aravis's tale, story, lore, I guess, one thing that I forgot to mention in the first chapter, and probably for good reason because it pertains to the last chapter as well and the meaning of these two characters, but even though... Actually, I guess the Dawn Treader in this timeline has not yet sailed.
Oh, yeah.
But in our memory, in our knowledge of Narnia, at least, we know that the Dawn Treader has already sailed. Anyway, the point is, the way that Shasta is found by Arshish is in a boat as a baby. Pretty basic Prince of Egypt stuff. It doesn't have, like, the same sort of theme, but it is very that. But instead of being found by people of means, he's found by a fisherman. And then later on, when he is forced into the water by the lions, again... passage by water, travels by water, that's how they end up meeting. And I feel like the journey of water, the passage through water, like the transition, the transcendence, the way that water is such a big mover and connector. It's not even just a story. It's in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe when the kids get on, to go through the river. It's in Prince Caspian with the bridge. It's in The Dawn Treader because it's a fucking boat. The only one that water isn't a consistent message and, like, movement force in would be the silver chair, except for towards the end there are bits and pieces. I say that, and maybe that one just pales in comparison because we had just come from a big ass boat journey, but I think it is very interesting how Lewis will use the movement of water, the transition, the journey of water, because that's interesting, I guess.
Yeah, there's Christian origins with that. There's the tarot with the Six of Swords. I don't know. It's interesting that he chose it. And also, I think that I do now pick my Shasta origin with precious water of the African name meaning. Although, I said I couldn't pick between the three names, teacher and whatever the other one was. I like how much water plays such a role in so many of the books.
Yeah.
Having him be named after water. And the fisherman,
Of course. No, she says, my name... What accent should she have? Must make her be Irish for no reason.
Yeah.
Ervis Tarkina, and I am the only daughter of Kedra. Why does it make... It does...
Kirash Tarkan.
Karatatan.
The son of Rishti Tarkan.
The son of Arjun, who was descended in the right line from the god Taish.
I think it does work with Irish.
My father is a lord of the providence of Calvar and is the one who has the right of standing on his feet and in his shoes before the face of the Tisroc himself. May he live forever. No, I can't do it. All of our listeners in Ireland are going to be reading me for... I was going to say, instead of reading this whole story, let's paraphrase it. Basically, we've got a girl of lineage of means, but of course that only means something if you know who they are. Her mother died, as many princesses' mothers do, and her father marries another woman.
This new stepmother doesn't like her.
Classic.
And convinced her father to marry her off to some 60, 70-year-old man. It doesn't say how old he is, but it says he's all hunched over and has gray hair and is way too old for her. And she cried all night and the next morning, rode out to the woods to end it all. But her horse, Hwin, was there to stop her, and finally she spoke up, which is crazy because this is her horse.
Yeah.
It's her best friend horse from growing up all of a sudden can talk. And she forgets all about her own awful life and is only filled with questions of Hwin's life and Narnia, similarly to... Is that the way I would want to say it? Similar to Shasta with Bree.
Mm-hmm. Except Shasta wasn't about to commit seppuku.
Correct. Just the immediate interest, because why wouldn't you? My horse just talked. That horse just talked.
There's really very few situations where I wouldn't be thoroughly intrigued by a talking animal, and that's probably while dreaming, I guess.
And after she hears Hwin's story, she says, "In the name of Tash and Azeroth and Zardina, Lady of the Night, I have a great wish to be in that country of Narnia." And so the Calamine Empire is polytheistic. These are some of the gods they worship, instead of, in Narnia, where they just kind of have Aslan, but they also don't really worship him in the same way. It's interesting, but they don't really dive into it in the same level as Narnia, because this is the Chronicles of Narnia, not the Chronicles of Calormen. Calormen is
Calormen,
the Calamine Empire, but of Calormen.
Oh boy.
In regards to the marriage, she pretends to be excited in front of her father and says that she's going to go for 3 days into the forest to make sacrifices to Zardina, Lady of the Night, and also kind of goddess of virgins, kind of like a Artemis character. And she first goes to her father's oldest servant, the one who basically raised her, and asks that person to write a secret letter. And we don't really learn what the letter is.
Secret plan.
Shasta interrupts the story. He's like, "What's the letter?" And Bree goes, "Shush, just let her tell the story." Because we also at the beginning learn that storytelling is very big in the culture of Calormen, and so she's telling this story very beautifully and very verbose. She's going with it. Very beautiful.
There's no bullet points.
No.
Only arrows of shut up. Go ahead, White.
Well, after the secret letter is where she drugs her servant, dons her brother's armor, and sets off north towards Tashbaan instead of the West Woods where she had said she would be going. So she's running to Narnia just as they were running to Narnia. We now figure out what the letter was. She had him write as if it was from Ohashka which is the old man that she was supposed to marry. It told her father that they had married at once. They had run into each other and married, and they were now at his home, and he was to go there at once, which is, I bet, in the opposite direction of where they are going. Shasta feels badly for the servant, who was probably beaten for sleeping in late. Because in this story, he is the servant. He's not Aravis. Mm-hmm. He also doesn't understand how they were marrying off a child, because she isn't even as old as him. And he learns that's just how it's done with the Tarkans. And it's like, she's not fucking happy about this either. That's literally why she ran away. It just doesn't really make sense why he is confused.
Aravis doesn't really care that the servant was beaten. Doesn't really think of her as an actual person. And then to call him ignorant for wondering why a child is being married off. Shasta gets really embarrassed, turns very red because he's been embarrassed by these comments, but I think that it actually just shows that he has a lot of humanity or Narnianity, because he cares not only for the person who is a servant, but he cares for every person. I don't know. I'm just a big fan of Shasta. I feel like it's been a while since we've just had a straight out the gate, doing the best he can, making his way downtown, walking fast.
He is lovely. He's our new Lucy. Mm-hmm. He's just a sweet peep.
He's like Prince Caspian mixed with Lucy.
Yeah. The best of both worlds.
I still cannot believe your brother thought that they were two different people. I'm never going to let that go.
Bree then tells their side of the story, and he doesn't tell it as well and beautifully as Aravis, and he finds the falling and bad riding part funny, so he kind of keeps harping on that. Aravis doesn't laugh at that part, so there's some points for her. She is definitely not my favorite. She's kind of like Hermione on the first introduction, where she's just kind of a meh, why are you so full of yourself? But also she's a princess, so it makes a little more sense.
And she's never, this is still her second experience with a talking animal.
Yeah. So. And if it's been weeks and weeks I guess we don't really know where she's from. She does tell us, but we don't. It wasn't on my map, or maybe it was and I didn't see it. But
somewhere in the dish.
Yeah, there's somewhere there. Bree and Aravis bond over the next day. They're talking of all the places and people that they have in common, having grown up in the same area, not unlike Bree and Hwyn did when they first met. But now that it's a human talking to the horse, Shasta's feeling all left out of the conversation. Well, she also specifically didn't speak to Shasta if she could help it, which is kind of funny, because there's only 4 of them, so it's really, really obvious if you're not talking to one person.
Yeah.
But they're going along. They have to figure out their plan to get through Tashbaan. And they decide their meeting place would be the beehive-shaped tombs of the ancient kings, because they're easy to see, and the people of Tashbaan don't go there because they're worried about ghouls and ghosts and goblins and creatures. Speaking of the Tombs of the Ancient Kings, this episode is actually sponsored by the Tombs of the Ancient Kings.
Tombs of the Ancient Kings is located on the edge of the desert. You can't possibly miss them. Haunted by goblins and ghouls, all Calormans are deathly afraid of it.
Ooh.
So, safe place. And Shasta's like, well, shouldn't we then also be worried about ghouls and goblins and ghosts and creatures? Bree says, nay, I'm a Narnian. I don't believe in that shit. We just have to figure out how to get into Tashbaan first. They've decided that they're going to meet up on the other side at the Tombs of the Ancient Kings, but how are we going to get there? Aravis wants to swim across the river, straight ahead, and just keep going along the coast north up to Narnia. Shasta wants to go inland, of course, basically opposite of what Aravis wants, to go around the city, and Hwyn wants to go directly through the city in disguise. They're all bad plans. They've all got negatives. One's going to take too long. The coast doesn't have enough to eat. The city is very dangerous, but the crowd exists in the city, and so they feel like the crowd is the easiest to pull off. Mm-hmm. And go with Hwyn's plan. That's like Dora the Explorer. Do we go around the city? Do we go through the city? And so they're going through the city, in disguise. They are still a couple days away from the city. They decide this before they get too close. And over the next couple days, they steal or, quote, raid some sacks for the horses, rope, and they do eventually have to buy some boys' clothes for Aravis in a town on the night before Tashbaan. They're got the horses rolling in mud. They give them a bad haircut. Bree's worried about showing up in Narnia looking ugly. His honor, because he's a war horse, so he's all about fucking honor and shit.
Yeah.
Gwyn is like, I'm just worried about getting there.
Yeah, let's just get there.
The Hufflepuff, the Mrs. Beaver.
Let's just fucking get there, and then we can worry about how we look.
Right. Shasta gets to see, like, all the lights of the city at night, and is also kind of blown away. Farm boy! Big city!
This is the
show now.
podcast.
They sleep and wake up with the sun. Oh, and now they cut the horses' tails right before. They give them until the last minute to cut the horses' tails. Painfully. Bree is complaining. He's like, I thought you were going to cut it, not pull it. And journey into Tashbaan and into the next chapter. Chapter 4. Shasta falls in with the Narnians. Makes it seem like the Narnians are the bad guys. Falls in with the Narnians.
He's mixing up with a terrible ragtag crew. I'm trying to imagine what it's like for Shasta when he wakes up that morning, because it's just the valley below and the sea, and it seems like it would just be beautiful. Like, you can see the river divided with the streams and the city of Tashbaan, which I guess is one of the wonders of this world, allegedly. And it's time to keep on keeping on, going down the riverbanks. It's sounds beautiful. Classic Narnian world lore with, like, the beautiful forest with the gardens, and all of a sudden there's white walls of innumerable houses peeping out from beneath the trees. And then Shasta notices a delicious smell of flowers and fruit.
Tasty.
Tasty. Oh, and then there's a low, throbbing noise, which gradually swelled louder and louder till the whole valley seemed to be swaying with it. The musical noise is the horns for the city gates opening, which means they can carry on, wayward boys, keep their heads drooped a bit, and just kind of don't look like a fancy war horse, I guess is the name of the game.
In Tashbaan, there is only one traffic regulation, which is that everyone who is less important has to get out of the way for everyone who is more important, unless you want a cut from a whip or a punch from the butt end of a spear. No, thanks. A guard does call out that Bree is not a pack horse. He, like, throws a carrot at them or something and is like, hey, does your master know that you're using his horse as a pack horse? And Shasta's like, well, it's my master's orders. And he gets smacked upside the head by this guy for talking back. And I guess he was just supposed to not say anything? I don't know.
Yeah,
but
calls
they
him
get it.
Young Filth.
Yeah, they do get in the city.
Name.
Young Filth, bitch.
Good DJ name. This city has everything. Water sellers, sweetmeat sellers, porters, soldiers, beggars, ragged children, hens, stray dogs, barefooted enslaved people, and of course, all the streets are partially crowded by, you guessed it, peasants. On top of the unwashed people, all the dogs are unwashed as well. Mixing that in with the scent of garlic and onions and the piles of refuge, you can kind of guess what the vibe is.
Paris.
Yeah. It's giving Paris. It's giving. What was that? Is it just perfume? Is that the movie?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I don't remember, but I know what movie you're talking about.
It seems like you wouldn't want to keep your nose down, but Shasta is keeping his nose down, but not as much as Aravis, which makes sense because
she has been here before. This is like the capital of her country. She's used to being the important people, because we see very shortly how they treat the important people. They get quite near the top of the city, with Bree kind of nudging Shasta in the right direction, and they hear some voices. They've done this a couple times, but this one is important for the plot. Way, 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 way for the white barbarian king, the guest of the Tisroc, may he live forever. Way for the Narnian lords. And in a big shoving, pushing wildness, Shasta loses Bree's reins because he was only kind of holding on to them, and is now front row for this Narnian thing.
Classic.
He sees them and notes that they look so wonderful, like they love life and aren't too serious like all the people he's used to in Calormen, who are quite serious and studious, listening to what the poets and the sages say. And these people, they're wearing shorts, they're wearing gay yellow and blue, and before anything can really happen, they shout, "There he is! There's our runaway!" And they grab Shasta and take him away.
Hello?
Because Queen Susan has been crying and they think that he's obviously someone else. Queen Susan? You say. Queen Susan, you say.
Fuck is Queen Susan?
I think I know Queen Susan.
I didn't vote for her.
And now, on. Our royal sister's mind will be greatly eased when she sees our young scapegrace safe in our lodging. Sister, all it says is that Shasta knows that he is the king. But that could be either one. That could be either of Susan's brothers. They're both kings.
How can you have two kings? We're not quite sure who they think he is, but definitely not he, him, himself. Not he, him, but, you know, what else are you going to do but go along for the ride? So then all of a sudden... So Shasta finds himself in a courtyard, which is also a garden. Common theme for this world and I guess most courtyards, now that I'm thinking about it. It's quiet, less gross, probably doesn't smell foul and fishy poopy. To where he's taken to a corridor, and the stone felt beautifully cool on his hot, hot feet. I guess he doesn't have shoes on, and
No.
I never really thought about that.
He doesn't have shoes on almost this whole story.
I mean, fair enough. I guess he probably grew up without them, so he can hobbit it around. But he was taken to a beautifully carpeted room. There's low sofas, rich cushions, and just seemed to be full of very queer people.
Queer mention.
That's a queer point. And then they all came over and, you know, throw their arms around him and kissing him, saying, "Oh, Corin, Corin, how could you? And thou and I such close friends ever since thy mother died. And what should I have said to thy royal father if I came home without thee? Would have been a cause almost of war between Archaean land and Narnia, which our friends time out of mind. It was not, playmate, very not of thee to use us so."
Corin? Corin Thunderfist?
Where the fuck is Corin?
Also, they pass through a doorway with cypress trees on either side. So I looked up some cypress tree symbolism, and they are associated with longevity, endurance, and mourning. And in some mythology, they're linked with the realm of the dead and were planted near cemeteries or used to construct burial monuments. If Sluis did look up the symbolism of the plants that he was putting here, I think it's a very subtle way to build tension because Shasta doesn't know where he's going. It's obvious they think he's someone else. They're dragging him through this archway to who knows where, past these shrubs that are guarding burial monuments. Like, they're maybe gonna kill him. He's got no idea. And then, of course, he walks into a wonderful room and Susan throws her arms around him and is crying.
No, now that I'm looking at it, he also walks past orange trees after that, and I'm wondering if there's anything to the oranges. Doesn't seem like...
As far
I
back,
didn't even think
it's
about
fine.
that.
As far back as ancient China, brides wore orange blossoms to ensure their fertility. And in Greek mythology, the orange tree is associated with goddess Hera, symbolizing purity and fertility. Oh, the Baroque era, this exotic fruit was popularly associated with the high social status of noble men and women.
Okay.
There we go. So it's just like a flex. Like, look, we've got fruit hanging around just there for the eating.
Maybe it's like oogie spooky, and then ba-bam, royalty, and then cool stones, fancy carpet.
Yeah.
Everyone's so happy to see you. Also speaking real fancy.
Yes, oh my goodness. It's really, really intense.
They're asking him how he's been or where has he been, and Shasta doesn't know what to say, and then they're interrupted by a voice who says, "Your Majesties, Queen Susan, King Edmund." And then that voice is someone I thought we were never going to see again. And now, for our second queer point added to the room, we have our wonderful goat friend. Been a while since we've last gotten to see his sweet fawn face, but it is indeed our friend. Mr.
Mr.
Thumbness.
Thumbness. Oh.
Are you happy?
Yes, I was so happy. Also, so grateful that he decided to sponsor this episode.
This episode is brought to you by Tumnus's Treasures. Are you looking for fabulous things to decorate your home, cave, or humble abode? Come on down to Tumnus's Treasures and see what you can find or scour.
Welcome, come down to Tumnus's Treasures. We got treasures, oddities, crystals, books, horns, flutes, harmonicas, panpipes, anything you need at Tumnus's Treasures. 1-800-TREASURE.
All purchases made at Tumnus's Treasures are final. There are no refunds, no in-store credit exchanges, or any substitutions. What you buy forever. It belongs to you. Deal with it.
Thank you so much, Tumnus. We love you so much. Your knickknacks are the best, and I would just like to thank you so much for that flute. It has done me wonders.
This Mr. Tumnus is a good deal older now. I'm not quite sure how old he was supposed to be in the first one, but it says that all the Pevensey royalty has aged for several years. So I'm guessing Peter's maybe in his late teens, Lucy's in her mid-teens.
I give them
maybe
5 years. This is 5 years later, maybe.
So Peter's like at max, like 2021 tops.
Yeah, that would put him, I think, at 1920.
Yeah.
Tumnus is so sweet. He goes into like nurse mode right away. He's like, "Oh, Corin, you must have caught some sun. Let's just lie down and here's some ice sherbet."
He's dazed.
Yeah, he lays him down on like the fainting couch and he gives him fucking ice cream. And Shasta's like, what the fuck is happening? Like, this is the best shit I've ever tasted, but also like, whoa, this goat man just gave what? Where am I? Who am I? Am I Corin? Could I live this life?
Yeah, they don't tell you what flavor the ice sherbet is, but it is in a golden cup, so you can only imagine how delicious it was.
I assumed it was orange sherbet, I think just from the orange trees, but it might be whatever.
That sounds great. Well, yeah, now he just gets to eavesdrop on this whole conversation because,
they just kind of ignore him.
Yeah.
This is his Caspian in the fancy house while his friends suffer portion of the quest.
Yes. Well, I guess technically he would be resting because if he was Sundays, they're going to ignore him anyway. So this is the perfect opportunity for him to just kind of figure out who the fuck they think he is. Who is Corin?
He's like, I'm trying to figure this out by context clues because they're not going to give it to me.
Gonna eat my sherbet?
And he learns the reason that they are here in Tashbaan is that Susan has come to marry Prince Rabbadash, but doesn't want to marry him anymore. I guess he was like able to swoon her in Narnia. He was there for some sort of tournament, but now that they're here in his homeland, they can tell what type of man he really is. And they decide that since now they've got Corin, he, I guess, had run away, that they should just leave that day. I kind of thought that this was nighttime, but then I remembered that they had spent the night immediately gone into the city, and only soon they catch him at probably like noon for lunchtime, and now he's resting. They're like, let's leave today.
Yeah, let's get the fuck out of here.
And Shasta feels like he heard all the juicy gossip, and then all of a sudden Edmund kind of changes his tone and says that he needs to tell Susan something secret. It's the end of the chapter. That's the secret. He knows that it's the end of the chapter.
Yeah, she says, there's something dreadful in your face.
I think that this is the moment where Susan really voices the fact that she does not want to marry Rabbadash. Because, I mean, they came all this way because she said she wanted to marry him. And now they've been there for, I think, a week or 2 weeks or whatever.
Right. He's a most proud, bloody, luxurious, cruel, and self-pleasing tyrant.
Right. And then she realizes who she came to marry and is like, whoa, that's not it. But
right. So what
he's
are you
also
gonna...
a prince. You can't just like, don't want to marry you anymore. Like, it's olden times.
So I thought about it, and I'm actually not going to marry you. Sorry.
So Edmund will tell us his side of the story in the next chapter. Chapter 5. Prince Corin. Edmund is basically like, thank God that you don't want to marry him. I got bad fucking vibes from this dude. Like, he really wanted to marry you. And I guess got violent at the idea that she may not want to marry him. Because Edmund, he does know his sister and kind of dodged Rabadash's question a couple days previous.
Mm-hmm.
And was like, oh, you know women, but joked it off with misogyny. But the mere idea that she might not want to marry him, he, started breaking shit or whatever. Very aggro, man, gross, scary. No.
Yeah, I don't understand my feelings, and I refuse to process them, but instead I'll just destroy things, because that is what I am allowed to do.
Mm-hmm. And Edmund's worried that they're just going to be prisoners if she outright refuses his proposal.
Mm-hmm. Easily in, but not easily out, as the lobster said in the lobster pot. I don't like that doesn't rhyme.
Mm-hmm. I feel like it should rhyme. It's
Out,
so close.
pout, as in the lobster pout, which is said by Salopad the raven, which is a cute little name, Salopad. Yep. So Edmund has warned Susan, we need to get got, but they can't just say, hey, we're going to go. They also can't just dip, because that might, no matter what, it's going to piss him off. But what if it pisses him off big time?
Yeah.
Wartime.
Big time wartime. Yeah, and as soon as they mention war, they kind of rabbit hole down very quickly of which, isn't even right now, but is in the future. And they're like, we might have to just walk. We might just have to get out of here. And if we walk, we're going to have to go through the desert. And this is where Shasta starts paying extra attention, because he's like, I'm going to have to get through that desert myself if I can get out of whatever the fuck is going on here and back to my friends.
The Raven has a plan.
He's been flying over this desert a bunch of times. He knows this desert very well, which is interesting that a Narnian raven would just be flying over the desert. But I guess there's probably good thermals. And he knows that there's an oasis in the middle of the desert, but there's not enough water in that oasis to feed an army. But there's another way. Just one other. He that would find that way must start from the tombs of the ancient kings and ride northwest, so that the double peak of Mount Pyre is always straight ahead of him. And so, in a day's riding, or a little more, he shall come to the head of a stony valley, which is so narrow that a man might be within a furlong of it 1,000 times and never know that it was there. And looking down in this valley, he will see neither grass nor water nor anything good. But if he rides down on it, he will come to a river, and he can ride by that water all the way to Arkenland. They're like, oh, do the Kellermans know this way? And Edmund is like, whoa. We're not talking, whether we would win in a war. We're just trying to get the fuck out of here. But before I talk myself too far, the double peak of Mount Pyre, I think, is the double peak that was the mountain peaks that Jadis pointed to in Lion Witch in the Wardrobe, because she said, look at those two, the double mountain peak right there. And I made the joke about the titties the whole time, the mountain titties. So their goal is the same mountains, but from the other side to get into Narnia, because now, Jadis is not there, obviously.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's the case, but I would bet that that's the case, because Narnia is not really that big. We even talk about it much later. Narnia is quite a small country in the grand scheme of the world of Narnia. We still never figured out what the world is actually called. But we're not trying to figure out who would win in a war. We're trying to figure out how to get out of this devilish city.
It seems like a lot of time is wasted on tactics and measures that really just would be a waste of time and probably get a lot of people hurt and killed, and it eventually...
Susan feels awful. She says, I am the cause of all of this. And she bursts into tears. She goes, oh, if only I had never left Cair Paravel. Our last happy day was before those ambassadors came from Calormen. The moles were planting an orchard for us. Oh. She buries her face in her hands and sobs. Oh, the Lily Gloves mention of this orchard again. This is the third orchard mention in the series so far, and it is such a pivotal. These apples are so important for seemingly no reason, but I'm so happy that we get another Lily Gloves mention, even if it's not by name.
And at this time, it's when Edmund realizes that Tumnus is not having a good time. It looks like he's trying to work something out, which is hilarious because I was doing the exact same thing, trying to figure out where we were in the story just now. Tumnus says, don't speak to me, I'm thinking, which is very reminiscent of how I am. Sometimes when I'm writing something, I have to tell people to stop talking to me, otherwise I can't write, and it's not them, it's just my brain. And Tumnus is just kind of puts a pen in every single one of these ideas and just mentions that we need to figure out how to get down to our ship. How are we going to do that?
Right.
And
the quickest way to Narnia would be to get to the ship.
Yeah.
So that's all we need to figure out.
we need some pretext for going down to the ship and taking stuff on board, because if it's just, oh, we're just bringing some things, like, we're just going down to the everyone is going down to the ship with all of their things,
Yeah.
like, it's, you know.
Don't worry about it.
No, we're not leaving. Why would we leave with all of our things all at the same time? Definitely not. But instead, they decide to play into the princess's ego and pretend that they're going to have a great banquet held on their ship, which is called Splendor Hyalene. Did you look that one up?
No, we did talk about it in the first book.
Oh, okay.
Because it's their ship, the Pevensies boat, like how they have the Dawn Treader, Prince Caspian does. They had the Splendor Hyalene.
I guess
And
it's been a while.
Hyalene is a type of crystal, I remember, because some kind of quartz crystal, I believe, and Splendor. But
Bam,
I
pop.
thought that it was the Splendid Hyalene, and so I was looking that up, and I remember all I was finding was, like, really good crystal clusters of this Hyalene crystal, but...
The prince is giving a ball.
Yeah, they're going to have a feast, a banquet on the ship. They're
yeah.
well, we're going to give you a taste of Narnia in your own country.
This banquet's going to have everything. Magicians, jugglers, dancing girls, flute players. I mean...
Right, so they're going to disguise them packing for the sail back to Narnia by spending even more money. Because they don't need the jugglers and all the stuff, but they're gonna hire them all for the event to just like make it look super, super legit. And then the night before the big banquet, they dip. Bye-bye, Tashbaan. Hello, Narnia.
It's a brilliant plan. Why
Honestly.
would we hire all these people? What do you mean?
Yeah, why would we spend all this money if we were
What?
gonna leave?
Yeah.
Before Shasta can think of his own plan on how to escape, Tumnus walks in with a feast for him to get rid of this sunstroke. You know, you always need a big old meal to get rid of sunstroke.
Of course.
Is that real? I feel like you just need, like, water.
Well-
and some food, sugars and stuff, I'm sure, but...
As a medical doctor, I can honestly say that. I mean, you need to get your vitals back to like a regulated place. So I feel like food would be good.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Assuming if you've got heat, like if you got the sun blindness, you probably aren't nourished and hydrated.
Yes. I love this for Shasta. I love this so much, though, because the Calamine people, they pulled all the stops? I don't know what the phrase is. I don't remember.
Pulled out all the stops.
Yeah. This is the most gorgeous meal that Shasta had ever seen. And Tumnus I think he says something like, oh, you might not like it, but it's in the finest Calamine fashion.
Mm-hmm.
But this is Shasta's food, and this is the food fit for kings that he's now getting to eat, and he loves it so much.
Oh yeah. Do you want me to list it?
Please tell me what he was eating.
There were lobsters, salad, snipe stuffed with almonds and truffles, a complicated dish made of chicken livers and rice and raisins and nuts, cool melons, gooseberry fools, and mulberry fools. I myself am definitely a gooseberry fool.
I'm a mulberry fool.
Every kind of nice thing that can be made with ice, and a little flagoon of that sort of wine that is called white, even though it is really yellow.
White wine. That's yellow.
Shrimp and white wine.
It's such a child-like thing to point out.
It's because the grapes are white, I guess.
But they're kind of green.
Can I have a glass of red, a glass of green?
I want a glass of green
A
wine.
little glass of green.
You're looking at a little glass of green.
Honestly, the Shasta, I feel like Shasta's like equal parts confused and delighted, because it's like, sure, what the fuck is going on, but also this is the best food I've ever had.
Yeah.
So like I can take some more confusion if that means I get to eat.
And what's that phrase when a mystery is too severe? When the mystery is too overpowering, one dare not to disobey. From The Little Prince.
Oh. Can't believe I forgot that little Prince quote. What's happening to me?
These are kings and queens, and they're telling me I'm this person and I'm not this person, but, like, they would know, but I definitely know, but the food is good.
It's
the
giving
couch is good.
Yeah, it's like kind of like Anastasia. Like, oh, maybe I am the lost prince. Like, I don't know. I don't know who I am.
We don't know how long this prince that they have been looking for has been lost.
And you're full, and you're in a nice place, and it's cozy, and it's like, maybe I'll just take a little royal nap. That seems to be the vibe in Narnia.
Right.
Royalty snack.
Yes.
Nap.
And he
nothing
falls
bad
asleep.
happens. Nothing bad ever happens.
No, he falls asleep.
Until he's woken up by a loud crash.
And he sees two hands cresting the balcony outside.
Ew.
And then we get Prince in the Poppard.
Oh, a little pea in the pea.
Yeah, we get a little pea in the pea.
Little pip in the pip.
Because this boy that pops up above or up onto the balcony, although with a black eye, missing a tooth, and is very scraped up in many various ways.
The finest black eye you ever saw.
The finest black eye. He only has the finest things.
But yeah, it's his twin, basically.
Yeah. We're told that he doesn't really recognize that he looks that familiar. But it's kind of, that brain thing where...
all white people look the same.
Well, yeah, that. And also, you only see yourself with all of your own subjective views.
Right.
And they say that if you really saw somebody that looked exactly like you wouldn't think that they looked like you.
Or if you did, you'd have to kill them.
Yeah.
Or run away. It's doppelganger law.
And he kind of freaks out because he's like, whoa, he does kind of look like me. But also, he's half asleep. And he just got woken up, so it's a lot to process.
The boy says, "Who are you?" And Shasta just asks point blank, "Are you Prince Corin?" And the boy says, "Yes, of course, but who are you?" Which I think is really funny that Shasta's just like assumes that this person is Prince Corin, but I guess he must recognize at least enough, be like, oh, like this kid kind of looks like me, so this must be him.
He does recognize that they look similar, but he doesn't think that they look similar enough to be mistaken for each other.
And I like the way that he handles it. He's like, oh, I'm not anybody, I'm really nobody, like they just thought I was you, and can I get out the way that you came in? Like, no explanation or anything, like whatever, they thought I was you, you're here now, who cares? Like, yeah, can I sneak out the window?
He can. Basically, he hears Corin's story, which is that someone made a beastly joke about Susan, so he punched him in the face, and then
there's the three old men who are called the Watch, and he fought them and then was knocked down. It was getting dark, and he was taken along. Oh wait, no, sorry. He fought the Watch, they knocked him down, and it was dark, so they took him and locked him up somewhere and gave him wine, and it kind of seems like this is just some ragtag group of men called the Watch, and they took him, and he waited until they fell asleep, and he was able to sneak out and come back. And this, says, I've been trying to come back ever since. Also, is there anything to drink?
He, being Shasta, tells the other boy, being Corin, his Cliff Notes version of the story, of his own story, minus Aravis, which, thank God, you don't need to tell them everything. Jill would have just blabbed the whole thing, I'm sure. But Shasta does not. He tells them just enough about Narnia. He's going to Narnia. There's a talking horse. He needs to leave. And Corin is like, cool, that sounds fun. Bye. It says that they're friends now. Even with just their little interaction, they have become friends. Because they're both kind of scrappy fun. It's like Aladdin meets Aladdin.
Yeah, neither of them is perturbed by anything that the other one did. It was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe, neither of them is like, oh, okay, cool. There's just a mutual understanding, and I think that's pretty cute, because he's like, I hope that we get meet in Archaean Land. I love the idea of them getting to meet up someday and be like...
Land.
Sorry, Archaean Land. I always want to say Archaean Land. I mean, honestly, it could be Archaean. I know it's not, but it could be. The point is, he hopes that they get to meet up again someday, and then he hears somebody coming.
Yeah, and Shasta's like, I gotta go.
Right? Turns out that person coming is Chapter 6.
Chapter 6. Shasta amongst the tombs.
Shasta running lightly across the rooftops, hot under his bare feet, scrambling up the wall, creepy crawling, looking down
into this narrow, smelly street. Why am I whispering? I mean, I guess because,
He's on the run.
yeah, him on the run also, like, even though he didn't actually do anything wrong, he still needs to get away unseen just to, point is, run.
Also, I just had the thought that he looks like this kid, Corin. Corin was just starting shit in Tashbaan with the Watch and all these other people. So he has to watch out for those people thinking that he is Corin and beating him up as well.
It's a real Kermit Constantine situation.
Yes, I never thought about that aspect of him because he's sneaking around a little bit more than I thought was necessary.
Yeah, I know it keeps mentioning his bare feet, not like a Quentin Tarantino way, but like we get it. Like he just looks like a little ragged boy, like running around, like doing all this stuff. So yeah, I guess nobody really thought anything about it as you were saying. Now that I'm back from that weird muscle spasm.
But yeah, he crests this hill city, which is kind of how I pictured it anyway. But this is our confirmation that the whole city kind of is on a hill, and the top of it is the fancy palace land. Now he's going downhill. Like, it's literally, it's all downhill from here now. And he, from this vantage point, sees the desert and the mountains for the first time on his journey and in his life. And he only recognizes what they are because of, like, context, and he knew that that's what would be there because of what he had heard. But just his world has expanded so quickly and so vastly from a tiny ocean town to seeing forest and now desert and mountains, and he gets to go to there. And also he sees the tombs. Just as Bree said, they're very apparent, these beehive shapes.
Well, the mountains look way further away, and in my head I'm just like, okay, like all of a sudden it goes from being just like kind of a lush place, and then it's just endless sand, just like the grass stopped, like where the sidewalk ends, like and then very dry, endless sand forever. And then the tombs, or what we assume must be the tombs based on what Bree said, which is like great masses of moldering stones shaped like gigantic beehives, just slightly more narrow and very black, very grim. But I think that might also be because the sun is setting right behind them, so he's faced west in that case, because that's how the sun goes. I guess it doesn't matter if you're in Narnia or elsewhere.
And also, so he's at the top of the city looking down. The city will have its own horizon, so the sun will set behind the city. Everything else is going to be really dark, even early on, so it's going to feel dark and spooky when it shouldn't necessarily, which gives some extra spook.
Right? And he assumes that they're going to be on the far side of the farthest tomb.
Right.
Because
on the desert side. Yeah,
so no one's going to see them. And there's 12 tombs.
Which is less than I thought, which makes it so much scarier.
Yeah, well, they each have a low arched doorway that opens into total absolute blackness, which is terrifying.
Yeah.
And they're not in any kind of order. They're just kind of going round and round, so that like it just like it's ookity spookity no matter which way you go, but like ookity spookity chaos.
Yeah.
Like simple
chaos. They're not in rows. They're just kind of organically popped up where they needed to be, I guess.
And it's of course super quiet, and the sun is really setting, so it's getting dark. This makes me think of my favorite quote from The Little Prince, which is, "I have always loved the desert. Nothing is seen, nothing is heard, yet something echoes in the silence." Which usually sounds really nice and lovely, but in this aspect it sounds absolutely terrifying, because you've got these big oogity spookity giant tombs with doorways that lead to who knows where. Suddenly from behind somewhere came a terrible sound, which is just the Tashbaan horns blowing in the distance, which is the closing of the gates, but still freaks Shasta TF out and gives him a little bit of a jimpity-jumpity cortisol spike.
Just as we experienced in Silver Chair when the horn honks, when the horn blows. And that means that the gates are closing for the night, except in the Silver Chair, they were on the inside and still felt very unsafe because it was in the giant city of Harfang.
Yeah, now they're on the outside looking in, or rather, he is by himself. But he calls him, so he's like, don't be a silly little coward. It's the same noise you heard this morning. It's just this time, it's letting you know that all your friends are far away and it's nighttime and you're shut out and you're in the dark and don't know if anyone's gonna join you or anything, but it's fine. It's totally not spooky and you're not. It's fine. It's fine.
They definitely didn't leave. They definitely are waiting for me. They definitely didn't leave like hours ago because I was stuck up there for so long. And he's like freaking out that he's gonna get there and then wait for them, and they are gonna have left already. And Sluis takes us aside to let us know that Aravis is a little mean to Shasta, but she would never leave a traveling companion behind. And really, like, neither would Bree, and Hwyn would not do that either. But the self-doubt, and I can very much relate to gaslighting yourself, so I understand.
Catastrophizing is something that's very easy to do, especially when you're in the ookity spookity, you're all alone and it's so quiet and you don't know are there going to be goblins and ghosts?
And then something touches his leg.
No, thank you.
He screams, ow, help.
No, 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 no.
But it's only kitty catty. It's just a black kitty.
His heart almost burst with relief, or just in general, but this is a little puss, and he's like, oh, I suppose you're not a talking cat. And it's not a talking cat, but it is a very stare bear kind of cat.
Yes.
Which, some cats like to stare, but it just kind of stares at him for a while and then walks away. And obviously you got to follow it. Mm-hmm. Follow the cat.
Its eyes made you think it knew secrets it would not tell. Which Sluis is trying to make sound really mysterious and cool, but that's like literally every cat.
It's a big cat, something like Maine Coon kind of energy, very solemn. But he also says it looks as if it might have lived for long, long years among the tombs, alone. So this is the kitty cat of the tombs. So
yes.
Follow him. He'll take you to, hopefully safety. But we don't know if it's safety yet. But it leads him through the tombs and out of the desert on the other side of them. It sat with its tail and feet curled towards the desert and towards Narnia in the north, as if it was watching for something, maybe an enemy or whatever. And Shasta just decided to lay beside it with
back to back.
Yeah, back against the kitty cat and the face towards the tombs, because you might as well have your face towards the danger. And I guess Shasta's so tired and had been sleeping on the ground for so long, and probably who knows what his bed was like growing up, and he just doesn't care, so he just falls asleep next to the cat on the nice warm sand and dreams about what happened to Bree and everybody else.
So sweet. I looked up cats and associations with cemeteries, and I did come up with something. It says cats may feel at home in cemeteries because of their association with the afterlife and transformation. In some mythologies, cats are associated with the afterlife, such as in Finnish mythology, where cats escort souls to the underworld, and in Celtic mythology, where cats guard the gates to the underworld. And this cat kind of feels like it's doing the both. Like both of those things.
Not
both
quite as
led
Zachary
him through.
Banks.
No, not quite.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, he's awakened suddenly by a noise he had never heard before.
Some strange cry out in the desert.
Mm-hmm. And also the kitty cat that's gone.
Fuck.
Classic cat. Who knows? Maybe the cat woke up from their nap and just was somewhere around there. But Shasta just lay quite still, feeling more frightened and lonely until the noise happens again. So he sits up with his eyes open and he sees the moon shining brightly.
The noises are getting closer and closer, and he decides he'd rather risk the noise, some strange noise out in the desert, than the ghouls in the tombs, which he doesn't know exists, versus the sound, which he does know exists and is coming for him.
Mm-hmm. And happens again.
Yeah, then closer and closer and closer all
and
the
closer.
time.
And he hopes it's not more lions, which I feel like it says that he'd never heard this before. So clearly it can't be lions. It's got to be, he's heard lions before.
Yeah, Lewis tells us what it is. It's a jackal call. But Shasta does not recognize it.
And even if he had, he would not have wanted to very much to meet a jackal.
No, nobody wants to meet a jackal. It's like a dingo.
I feel like even worse.
Probably. All of a sudden, a lion as big as a horse jumps out and roars because the jackals kind of crest the hill, and then, boom, lion, jumping, roaring, scattering the jackals into the desert. And then the lion turns to walk towards Shasta, and he kind of freaks out, freezing, and then he realizes that it's just the black cat walking towards him, and he's like, "Oh, I was still asleep. It must have just been the cat." He's so grateful that the gas came back for him, and it lays down back to back just as they were before, and he rubs its face and pledges never to harm a cat again, because I don't have it, but he did something mean to a cat, and he tells this cat this story and gets a scratch. He gets a tash. Almost as if the cat understood his story. But he says, "I'll never hurt a cat again. I promise, I promise." And then goes to sleep and sleeps all through the night.
I mean, I assume the cat stays with him and protects him. It also, I love how it describes the cat returning, because the cat's lit up by the moonlight, and it just makes them seem all that more ethereal and magical. And
Right. He goes, "Oh, it's just a cat, not a lion as big as an elephant, because it must have just been a trick of the light, the way the shadow was cast. He was looking at the shadow of the cat, which was as big as an elephant, not a real lion." Or was he? We've seen a lion transfigure before.
once or twice.
Once or twice or thrice.
Next morning, when Shasta wakes up, the cat's gone, the sun's up, and the sand is hot, and he is very thirsty. Eyes dry, blinding desert, murmur of noises from the city. It kind of seems like waking up at a festival when everything's happening around you. Not ideal, but he can see the mountains now on the far side of the desert, and they're so sharp and clear that it seems like they're only, quote, a stone's throw away. But that could also be that desert light.
Desert mirage. Because last night they seemed so far away, and now in the morning light. It could also be just one of those things where everything is scarier and sucks at night, so they seem so far away, but now in the fresh morning sun, they seem a little bit closer.
But you gotta have a breakfast.
Yes, so he raids some food and is able to bathe in the river, and then he panics and rushes back to the tombs, because he's like, "Wait, they might leave me." I'm like, "Bro, it's gonna be okay."
Right. Have yourself a little bit of breakfast. We don't even know what's going on with them yet.
Right, we haven't heard from them. The plan was to stay and wait. And he tries. He sits there for most of the day. Then he decides that waiting is over. He plans to steal a bunch of melons, which is what he had for breakfast, that evening, and set out for the double peak of Mount Pyre alone. Alone in the desert, where he just fucking saw and heard all those jackals. Yeah, Shasta, that sounds like a great fucking plan. Right, as he decides this, I think he starts kind of walking back toward the city to get the melons, and he sees Bree and Quinn start approaching. And it's like one of those moments where you're, "Oh, my friends!" And then right before you run, you see something wrong, because Aravis is not there.
It's a trap.
It's an armed man, and the horses are no longer in their horse disguises. They're all prim and proper and wearing their saddles, ready to go. And Shasta skulks behind the tomb into the next chapter. Chapter 7. Aravis in Tashbaan. And instead of dealing with what was happening with Shasta and Zichor, we cut to Aravis at the moment Shasta got nabbed.
Can you hit the rewind button for me? So, yeah, we now see same scene, different perspective of Shasta being taken away, and now, fuck. What are we gonna do?
plan has gone to shit. She quickly grabs Bree's halter, but other than that, she doesn't really know what to do.
Right.
And before she can think of what to do, it's like another one of those, way, make way. It's announced that Tarkina Lazareline is coming through, so get the fuck out of the way. And ding-a-ling-a-ling, new character. She at least plays a little bit more of a role, so we'll give her some name origin. Lazareline, her name may come from the Scottish Lazar, meaning leisure, and een, E-E-N, the Gaelic feminine diminutive, thus she of leisure, a reference to her pampered princessy life. I feel like that one's pretty solid, and I like it. Lazareline. Like, it's a very fancy princessy name.
Yeah.
Aravis and Lazareline. It's a little long, but...
Right. Except now, Aravis makes her first mistake.
Yes. I think it said that it's been years since she's seen her, right? And they grew up together, but she hasn't seen her in a while, since she got married or whatever.
It says, knew her quite well, almost as if they had been at school together because they had often stayed in the same house and been to the same parties. And Aravis couldn't help looking up to see what she looked like now because she was married and she was just different. And the second that Laracene sees her, she's just like, that's what I think you're doing here. Your father. And Aravis is like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. You have to hide me. You need to tell your people.
Yeah, she lumped because, as princesses do, they are being carried around by 4 people in a little cart with the curtain, and Aravis leaps up over the people onto the cart and kind of covers her mouth to hush her, which, if this is a princess, shouldn't she be a little guarded better? This random person dressed like a boy, could be some random boy, just jumped up and grabbed the princess and shushed her.
Yeah, I guess she doesn't. I mean, she doesn't.
She's not spooked and doesn't call for help. So
yeah, no. And Aravis is just shut the fuck up. Do what I say, or I'll never fucking speak to you again.
And she's like, "Ooh, exciting!"
Yeah, and it's it's super important. Tell your people to take these 2 horses along. Pull the fucking curtains and let's go somewhere where nobody can fucking find me and do it fast. We need to GTFO. And she's just like, okay, let's fucking do it. You're gonna take your.
She's like, didn't you know your dad's here looking for you?
My father doesn't know I'm here. I'm running away.
But he's here right now. She's really ditzy, but she seems supportive. She does everything that Aravis asks, basically. I mean, she doesn't just do it, but she does it eventually.
She's definitely what Aravis's father wanted. She is exactly what Aravis is supposed to be doing, just living this lavish life of a rich young trophy child
being the
bride.
Jewel of the
child
family.
bride.
Yes. And she goes, and oh, darling, have you seen the barbarian queen from Narnia? Barbarian, they keep calling them. I can't see that she's so very pretty myself. Excuse me, Lazareline. Get Susan's name out of your mouth. I know you didn't even say it, but get your lips shut. Thank you. I just call her Laz. They get to Laz's house, and she, per Aravis's request, tells her servants not to talk about Aravis's existence. This person was not here.
Yeah.
She does not exist.
If I catch any of you talking about her, you'll be beaten to death and then burned alive. And after, you'll be kept on bread and water for 6 weeks.
After you're burned alive, and finally, as they eat dinner, Aravis has time and Laz's attention enough to tell her story and not just hear about Laz and princess and drama and nothing. Dresses. She's like, isn't my dress pretty? Didn't you like my dress? Isn't my dress the greatest?
Yeah. Ropes of pearls, baths of milk.
Her threat in The Valley Girl. And anyone I catch talking about this young lady will be first beaten to death and then burned alive. And then after that, be kept on bread and water for 6 weeks. There.
You always wear a queer girl, Arvas. What more do you want?
Queer mention.
Bing
Aravis is
bong.
queer. She wears boy clothes and likes to shoot a bow and arrow. But she does think of a good plan. Laz is like, well, I get invited to the palace, and there's like this garden door that leads right to the river. So we could just like get you right through that door, and you'll be out of the castle in no time, and you could just get right to those tombs. Like, the horses will be easy. I'll just send a servant, and then you don't even have to worry about it. You just don't even worry about it. I got it. I'll handle that part. Which is kind of great, because it really is super helpful to just have somebody else bring the horses, somebody who looks like they should have fancy horses.
It's just funny because, yeah, Laracine is not concerned about getting caught. Because even if they do get caught, she's like, oh, it's just one of my mad tricks. And Aravis is like, no, everything would be over for me.
Yeah.
Which eventually, like, does somewhat at least kind of land in Larissa's mind that this would be over.
Larissa.
Does kind of,
I
because
love
I was
that.
trying to say, like, just Laz, but
Yeah, I just say Laz.
yeah. Eventually, Laz does understand how detrimental this would be. So,
I felt like it was more, she understands that it's important to Aravis, but she still doesn't really get it. It feels, oh, you know what it feels like? It feels like Glinda and Elphaba from Wicked. Like, they're friends growing up, they're very different, and they don't really understand each other, but
there's love.
they're still friends,
Yeah.
and there's still love.
Well, conveniently, there's a big feast happening tonight, and Laracine's getting her hair done, and the whole place is going to be a blaze of lights. So, wait a minute, that means that they can't actually leave tonight. It's going to have to be tomorrow night, which is not great news, but what are you going to do? Get caught and then have to marry an old man? I don't think so.
Plus, I have my hair appointment, and I really, really can't miss that again.
Right? Also, a bed and pillow and sheets after sleeping on the ground for weeks does sound kind of nice. Another reoccurring theme, you can always suck us in with a cozy, comfy, sleepy place.
Yeah. And the whole next day, we just kind of jump into it, is Laz just kind of being annoying, and Aravis is like, oh yeah, I forgot that she's kind of like this. She just keeps telling Aravis all this propaganda that she's heard about Narnia. She's like, well, did you know that it was like a country of perpetual snow and ice, inhabited by demons and sorcerers? Like, you're crazy to try to go there.
With a peasant boy.
Yeah, and with him.
It's not nice.
It's not nice.
And I know she means it in, like, the British way, where, like, it's not good.
Yeah.
Like, not like it's not kind.
It's not nice. Yeah, it's not. It doesn't look nice.
It doesn't slap. The vibes are off, basically. And Eravas is just like, I mean, doesn't actually say it, but also it's just like, okay, shut the fuck up. Like, I'm just, like, you know, nothing is going to prevent her from doing that. But, it's that type of thing where you meet a friend that you once had a lot in common with, and you're like, wow, we have nothing in common anymore.
It makes her actually kind of excited to get back on the road with Shasta, which is cool because they were never really on the same team. So when they get back together, I feel like they'll be a little bit more amicable with each other.
Yeah, maybe she kind of sees how snooty she's been, probably based on, like, how Laz is being, and just...
Right.
I keep saying, like, Laser Wolf, which is the name of the fucking butcher in Fiddler on the Roof, which I feel like we've watched a million times, but really we probably just watched it 2 or 3 times,
Yeah.
broken into 80 different segments.
Exactly.
Tradition.
And she has to go fill in the horses on the plan.
Yeah.
Yes. She fills them in. They're down with it. They're ready to go. Bree is like, so if she really has the connections that she said she has, you should just really let them know that if the oats that they're getting, if they think that they're getting like high-end oats, they're not. These are subpar oats. This is the king here. We should be having high-quality oats.
Me as a horse, 100%.
He's like, they're getting ripped off. If they're saying they're buying good shit, they're not buying the good shit.
Your oats suck.
And that's from the horse's mouth.
I quit. I quit.
Off the cuff. The most cliche thing.
So they come up with a sneaky plan dressing Arvis like one of the servants, and they have her pretend that Arvis and Laz are taking a present to one of the other princesses. And so they're going out on foot, going through the palace gates.
Hidden in plain sight. Mm-hmm. They just have a little bit of a veil, like a meshy veil over her face.
Yeah, the soldiers on guard are calling themselves to attention. They're saluting her. They know who she is. So they really, it's just like having the best hall pass, ironically, while they're passing halls. And just, yeah, tons of different people. I mean, yeah, it's a very risky thing to do, but they're pulling it off.
Yeah, it's working.
Yeah, and especially because Arvis is not supposed to be there. No one really knows that she's missing yet. It's kind of brilliant. So they're able to just go past everyone through these like magnificent beyond description halls that are lit dim with lamps that have just statues and pillars, and then they come down to the garden court, which is the old palace. Laz is still having a ton of fun. It's a silly game for her, and
yeah, it's like, oh, we're sneaking around, but also I'm like showing you around.
And based on her personality, if she was scared, this would be impossible. There's no way they would have made it. Like, she has to think it's a fun, silly game because it just doesn't seem like she would be the bravest, or I don't know. Like,
she doesn't seem like she does well under pressure. No.
Yeah, she's the perfect companion in this situation. And then they come across a passage that's like not very lit, and the steps start going down, and then the lights started moving ahead, and then a second later it appeared that there were two dark shapes of men walking backwards, carrying tall candles. Which I guess it's only before royalties that people are supposed to walk backwards.
Right. I mean, I don't like that, but I like it as a bit of, I feel like I don't want to call it lore because I feel like it is pulled from a real culture. But yeah, it's like not turn your back on the royalty. You walk backwards. You always face them until the door closes or whatever. I mean, it's very respectful to the point of being detrimental to oneself, which I don't necessarily enjoy, but it is interesting. The tradition of walking backwards when leaving the sovereign is believed to date back to medieval times. It was regarded as offensive for a courtier to turn his back on the king or queen, meaning for centuries, those close to the monarch had to learn to take steps in reverse. So yeah, just utmost respect, don't turn your back on the king. And then she freaks out. All of a sudden the facade in the game is over because Laz knows what this means. This means that the Tisroc is coming round the bend, and they're not supposed to be here, because if the Tisroc is here, that means that this is like old area, this is his area, this is not where we are supposed to be.
Yeah, and this is also exactly what I was just saying, is that Larcene is probably not going to be very helpful if she's scared, and guess what? She's terrified, and Arvis can tell that by the way that she's breathing, just saying, "Tashbaan, us. What shall we do if he comes in here? Can we hide?" It's like, girl, calm down. This was a game like 2 fucking seconds ago. Like, it's just one of your mad tricks. This is one of your mad capers. Like, you're mad. You're goofy. Like, okay, Muriel, like, hold it together. No,
and she's like, aren't you supposed to be besties with the Tisroc? Like, why are you freaking out? And she's like, we're not supposed to be here. And she just turns and opens the door that's closest to them, and they duck in. And there's no lights in this room.
And Larcene becomes quite selfish in her panic, not really being thoughtful of Erebus while they try to hide themselves,
right.
Which they do.
They like squish behind the sofa, right?
Yeah, and hide behind a sofa. It's not quite giving the Von Trapps hiding in the nunnery, but it is what I assume just a similar sort of thing where somebody shined a flashlight around the room. They probably would have seen the veil with Arvis's eyes, but
I think, yeah, it says that her face is kind of above the top, but because she's got the veil, it doesn't necessarily look like a face.
The whole Larissa being selfish in her panic plays into this whole next scene where everybody is too kind of selfishly involved in what's going on around them. So even though they're not totally hidden in plain sight, they're still hidden in plain sight because there's some old men coming in to this room. Right.
Of course, the one room that they pick is the same room that the plot people are going to walk into. It's the opposite of Harry when he sneaks in to listen to the McGonagall talk about the Sirius Black conversation. Like, they are walking in to this room to talk about some secret shit. And the they that are walking in is the servants, followed by the Tisroc. The least of his jewels with which he was covered was worth more than all the clothes and weapons of Narnian lords put together, but he was such a mass of frills and pleats and bubbles and buttons and tassels and talismans that Aravis couldn't help thinking the Narnian fashions, at any rate for men, looked nicer.
Yeah, I mean, you know, she grew up with that fashion, so she gets to make a choice. I assume it's just, you know, all of a sudden you see that there's any other fashion in the world that it's going to be a bit more exciting than what you're used to.
After the Tisroc, this young man with a scimitar comes in, and after him, Ohashta Tarkhan himself, her husband-to-be. Like, what the hell are the odds that this guy is here and also here?
Ahasha gets down on his knees and elbows and lays his face flat down on the next chapter. I mean, on the carpet.
Chapter 8. In the House of the Tisroc. The young man opens our chapter, basically saying that it's the Tisroc's fault that Susan and the Narnians have gotten away, because the Tisroc made him and his team double check that they were really running away first. They had to do some sort of loop around the city or whatever to make sure that their stuff was gone.
Does that mean that this young man is Prince Rapidash?
It does. He calls her the false jade, and I don't like that. He calls her the barbarian princess, I think, too, and I don't like that. But we do get the Prince Rapidash, and again, I did get some name origins real quick. Rab is an alternate word for God or Lord, and Adas is namesake. It would translate to God's namesake. This prince wants them to attack Narnia. He's like, we should just attack them. This is bullshit. We should attack. And the Tisroc will not do that because he knows the story of these kids appearing out of nowhere and defeating the White Witch. And he's like, don't you know that there was a powerful sorceress that held that country for hundreds of years in snow and ice? And then these fucking kids came and defeated her?
Yeah. Who the fuck do you think you are?
Yeah. And the Tisroc even believes that there was a magic even more powerful than the kids had that was able to defeat this White Witch, and he doesn't want to poke that lion, bear. The prince suggests something very devious indeed.
It's still that classic thing where it's like they know what they're up against, yet for some reason they have the arrogance, the gall, the audacity, the gumption to think that, you know, they're going to be the ones that will be able to defeat them.
Right.
They're more powerful somehow.
Rapidash is like, I will do it. Let me go to Unvard. I'm going to take Arkenland. Narnia will come right after that. And if anything comes back to you, you can play naive. Like, you can say that you had no idea that I was going to do this. The Tisroc asks what the Vizier thinks, which is Ahashta. Mm-hmm. And the Vizier has the opinion that the prince wouldn't really be in as much danger going over there as you would assume, because Narnians only have stories of love and war. Two things, simple people. So if he goes to war for, quote, love, then the Narnians may kind of understand and have sympathy for his cause. So it's the Vizier is kind of saying that it's a win-win. And the Tisroc agrees, but also warns Rapidash that he will not aid him, he will not avenge him should he die, and that's that. And this never happened. Go. If you want to do it, then you can go do it. And Rapidash leaves. He's like, all right, I'll be gone. I'm going to leave right now.
And of course, you know, it's very important that nobody else knows that they had this conversation.
Yes.
Of course.
The Tisroc tells the Vizier that if anyone finds out about this meeting, they will die. Plain and simple threat. And also points out that they might kill Rapidash, and that it's kind of like the Vizier's playing both sides.
Yeah, this goes badly. If he spills any royal Narnian blood,
more than necessary.
Yeah, which, what does that mean?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he's just ready to throw his only son under the bus.
Not his only son, his eldest son.
Excuse me, his Reuben, his eldest of the children of
He's
Israel.
got like 18 more or something. 8 more?
Oh, in that case, fuck him. Who cares?
He also said that he was getting far too dangerous, Rapidash was, and that more than 5 Tisrocs in Tashbaan have died before their time because their eldest sons, enlightened princes, grew tired of waiting for their throne.
Yes, he has to cool his blood abroad instead of boiling it in an action.
Right,
there.
go battle there and have your testosterone energy over there, and then you can come home.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's just like, you're being a ding-dong. Go get your wiggles out, and if your wiggles get too wiggly...
Then you're cut off.
Maybe.
The vizier leaves.
Crawls out on all fours.
Yeah, still bowing. He never gets up from
he
bowing.
crawls backwards on all fours to the door, stands up, bows, and then leaves, which...
Yeah. Wild. And the Tisroc just kind of sits there for a while in silence. The 2 girls fear that he's fallen asleep for a second.
Right. Then a big, like... Honestly, same.
Yeah.
As he gets up, and then the servants take the light goes out, door closes behind him, the room is totally dark, and the girls can finally just...
Yeah. Finally breathe.
Oh, fuck. That was close.
That was really, really close. And also a really, really bad plan that could go really, really poorly if nobody warns King Loon in Arkenland.
Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, the power dynamics in these stories, I mean, there's a lot happening in this chapter. I feel like this is our first look into what their political system is like, I guess. It's not fully giving Miraz, it's kind of giving like Prince Rapidash is more like Miraz, and I feel like even though this particular Tisroc is, maybe his heart isn't as noble as other royalty from other places, he does seem to be, he has at least the wisdom to know to send the ding-dongs out to Bing Bong so they can either take each other down or bring them more power by taking over Narnia. It's like, well, if he's successful...
If he wins, cool.
Yeah, more Narnia. We
then
get
we
Narnia.
have Narnia.
Mm-hmm. And
he
if
does
he
want
loses...
Narnia.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, they want it all. They want it now. And that's why he wanted him to marry. It's like, okay, well, if you're not going to marry Susan, and so we have it that way, then we'll just fucking take it by force. It seems unfortunate to end in a place where everybody's not all together again, but we only have 15 chapters in this book. I feel like most of them have 16. We made an executive decision to wrap it up here because at least now we know why Shasta's waiting and 2 horses just mysteriously appeared, but we don't know, is Aravis gonna make it? You know, are they gonna get out of that room? I mean...
Right, they still have to get out of the castle, into the garden, onto the river, and have Aravis get to the tombs and meet up with Shasta and the horses. Which, you know, if all Narnia goes to plan, then Aslan will make it happen.
Yeah, and if not, he just sent his eldest son on a suicide mission, and who cares?
Yeah,
you got plenty more sons to choose
I
from.
got 8 more sons.
Yeah. Oh, you don't have 8 more sons to choose from? You bore.
As Clem said, this is where we're going to wrap up this episode, and we will finish this book in our next one. So thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of The Lobster and His Boy with me, Wyatt, the boy.
And me, Clem, the lobster.
If you have any questions, comments, or concerns you need to talk to us about, you could reach us at lobsterandhisboy@gmail.com. Or if you want to follow us or reach out in any other sort of fun ways, we are on Instagram and TikTok at Lobster and His Boy. Both of those have no capitals, no spaces, no special characters. And that's that.
That's that. I got a song.
Give it to me.
Rock, rock, rock in the Tisroc. Rock, rock, rock in the Tisroc. Rock, rock, rock in the Tisroc. It's a rock, rock, Tisroc. Everybody Tisroc tonight. Na 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 na. Rock, rock, rock in the Tisroc. Rock, rock, rock in the Tisroc.